My name's Nancy Bellaire. I'm the director of the Monroe County Library System. When I found out we were doing this series of holiday treats, I thought, oh, I can do that. Norwegians, and I'm half Norwegian, let me just tell you that right now. Norwegians like to have at least 7 different types of cookies or baked items, or let's just call them treats, ready before the holidays, because that's when your family and friends are going to start paying visits in normal times. Obviously this isn't a normal time, but guess what? I'm cooking anyway. So what I'm doing today is a little video on how to make rosettes, R-O-S-E-T-T-E-S, rosettes. They are a deep fried, I'll show you one, a deep fried little cookie topped with powdered sugar. Mine happen to be in the shape of a snowflake. There are other shapes that I have, and I don't really use them much. A butterfly and a Christmas tree. I like the traditional snowflakes, let me just say that. What you do is you have a very simple batter, which I'll show you in a minute, and then you deep fry them in oil, which I'll talk about a little bit more detail also. You drain them on a wire rack. I put a paper towel underneath it on a little jelly roll pan so that it can drain and not be a huge mess, and then top with some powdered sugar. It turns out really great. I'm going to get started, and you have to stand up and get my chair out of the way to do this. Here I go. The ingredients are very simple for this. If you think about a funnel cake at the fair, but a much lighter and airier version, that's the closest I can come to in terms of telling you what it's like. So first of all, it's a cup of milk and 2 eggs and a tablespoon of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can see I'm not really fussy about what order I'm doing this. I'm just doing it. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then gradually stir that in, and gradually put in your flour, just so it's not a huge gloppy mess. And through the magic of video, I have a batch prepared because I wanted to do some samples to show you what it looked like. When I get started with this, I need to tell you a couple things. These look fancy and difficult and a little bit overwhelming, but once you get brave enough to try them, they're really not that difficult. It's just a matter of following the directions. I know that sounds obvious, but the tricky part is getting the oil the right temperature and making sure that you get the rosette wand hot enough. Otherwise they'll stick and they'll be really clumpy, horrible mess. Or they won't, or that's one version. The other version is the batter won't stick to this at all. So what you need to do is, I've done a couple of things in my lifetime. When I first got married, I used an electric wok, and I decided that this might be a little more even cooking, so I bought an electric fry pan pretty much just for this dish. And the recommended temperature is between 350 and 375. I also have a candy thermometer in here to double check the temperature, just because, again, I know how critical it is. Honestly, it's seriously disappointing when things run amok. So this iron has been sitting in this oil for at least 2 minutes. I recommend 2 to 3. Again, I know this sounds like a broken record, but it's super important. So it's hot. You dip it in the batter, not all the way up or it won't come off of the iron. Then you get it back into the oil. And in just a few seconds, if you try to remove the iron, you can, and it just kind of floats around in there happily. So I do maybe 2 or 3 at a time. I don't do too many because I'm afraid of getting distracted and having them burn. So you'll see how beautifully they come out. They're crisp, they're airy. Just super impressive. I used to do these when my kids would have like cultural, social studies kind of demonstration days at school. This was always the thing I brought because they liked them so much and they were so impressive. Oh. I think I better stop because you can see, or maybe you can't, that this one is getting really ready to roll here. I sometimes flip him over for a sec, but he's definitely ready to come out. So I put him on this wire rack to dry, maybe flip another 1 or 2, keep my eye on him, and then once they've cooled off a bit, and I know that's not a technical term, maybe 10 minutes. They don't have to be stone cold. I just don't do them when they're super greasy and hot. You can use a sifter or get all fancy. I just use a little strainer and take some powdered sugar and put it on top. And you can see how pretty and festive it looks. I can tell you, especially on a tray with a pretty tablecloth, it looks like you've been working all day and all night, and you can see how fast they go. I think I told you everything I needed to know. I can tell you that this particular recipe is the one that came with my Nordic Ware iron set. There are also recipes online. The Nordic Ware recipe happens to be the one that's in the allrecipes.com website if you've used that one. I also don't think I mentioned that I've used vegetable oil, and I've also used Crisco. This time I'm using Crisco. My husband thinks it tastes just a little better. Don't know, but that's I've seen high recommendations for Crisco from the Norwegian ladies online. Of course, there's a Facebook group for everything. Right now, there's a Scandinavian recipe Facebook group, which I pay attention to. I think I've hit all the highlights. I thank you very much. Please don't hesitate to ask if you've got any questions. My name is Nancy Bellaire. Again, I'm happy to answer anything you can. Oh, I did want to tell you one more thing. This did not come from this book, but my favorite Scandinavian book on cooking at the library is called Scandinavian Classic Baking by Pat Sinclair. Right now it happens to be assigned to the Bedford branch, but this very minute it is checked out, not due back till December 26th. So you can keep your eyes open for it or look online. There's tons of there's a group called Sons of Norway. There's just tons of recipes out there, and usually there's lots of great comments and reviews to give you advice on which one to choose. So again, thank you very much. I'm going to turn this off.